Hi everyone. What if I told you this story could surprise you in ways you didn't expect? If I'm right, you'll have to subscribe and like this video. Ready to be amazed? Let's get started. After finishing work, John was walking slowly through the evening city. Fall was asserting its rights, but it wasn't cold yet. Dark clouds hung over the city, but the rain still hadn't come. He glanced at his smartwatch. His wife Sarah should be finishing work at this time and going to pick up their daughter from daycare. Though it was John's duty to drop off and pick up their daughter, it was already getting dark outside, illuminated by shop and cafe windows. It happened that from the street, one could clearly see inside the cafes or shops through the window, but from inside, it was not as clear what was happening on the street. Passing by a trendy bistro, John looked through the window and couldn't believe his eyes. At a table, Sarah was sitting opposite some man who was pouring red wine for both of them. On their table was a charcuterie board, and a server was bringing out entrees, indicating they had been there for a while. John called his wife's cell and saw that she picked up, glanced at the caller ID, said something to the man, and turning towards the window answered, "Hey Johnny, good thing you called. Listen, we have an urgent report due, so I'll be working late. Could you pick up Emma from daycare today?" "What's the urgency about?" "It's a report on the efficiency of implementing new equipment, labor organization technologies, streamlining proposals, and innovations. Does that mean anything to you?" "No, you know I'm in finance. By the way, what should I feed Emma for dinner?" He intentionally asked this, knowing a full set of instructions on where the food is, how to reheat it, and how much to give their daughter would follow, along with a reminder to wash hands before eating and make sure Emma does too. The instructions usually lasted about 40 seconds, during which John, without getting distracted, walked into the bistro, approached their table under the puzzled gaze of the man, took his wife's full glass, and dumped the wine over the man's head. The wine spread, turning his crisp white shirt bright red. The man jumped up, exclaiming, "What the hell, man?" Sarah turned and saw her husband setting the glass down and calmly asking, "So what about that report on implementing new technologies?" "Johnny, you've got it all wrong. Let me explain. Oh my God, what have you done? Mark, we need to get that stain out ASAP. Come on, let's go to the restroom." She grabbed the man's hand and led him to the corner of the bistro where the restrooms were located. John, left alone, saw a smartphone on the table that wasn't his wife's. He picked it up. It quickly unlocked with facial recognition. He glanced at the recent calls list and saw "wifey." John hit dial, and a woman immediately answered. "I thought you said you were working late. I stopped by your office and you weren't there. Where are you?" "He's with my wife at the bistro across from the office, now washing his shirt in the bathroom and probably his hair from the red wine I dumped on him." "Who is this?" "I'm the husband of the chief financial analyst at the company where I believe your husband works. I caught my wife here while also being told she had to work late on an urgent report, so I get the picture. I'm walking up to the bistro now." John spotted a woman with a phone entering and shifted towards the kitchen door. The bistro patrons looked on bewildered, but didn't intervene. Then there was a confrontation. Mark ran into his wife, who, without preamble, clocked him square on the jaw, dropping him like a sack of potatoes. Sarah squealed, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" and promptly took a palm strike to the eye, also collapsing in the aisle between tables. At that moment, police officers, likely called by the bartender anticipating a scene, rushed in. John, quickly sizing up the situation, slipped out the back. The server silently pointed to the door leading outside. He exited to the street and quickly made his way to the daycare, picked up his daughter, called an Uber, and went to his sister Emily's house. Emily lived alone in their parents' old house. John had given up his inheritance rights to the property in favor of his sister. Sarah had been very displeased with her husband's decision, but didn't argue or try to persuade him otherwise. And since then, she hadn't maintained a relationship with Emily. Emily was home making dinner when she saw her brother arrive with her niece and was delighted. The house had a playroom for Emma filled with various toys and dolls. The little girl happily ran off to play. John came into the kitchen and told his sister what had happened. Emily listened and asked, "Johnny, how can I help?" "Em, can you put us up for a bit? I'll find a place for Emma and I, and we'll get out of your hair." "What do you mean, get out? This is your house too, and it's plenty big for all of us. Plus, it'll be nice to have the company. You guys hungry?" Nah, I'm good. But please feed Emma. Sure, I'll make her some mac and cheese. You sure you don't need anything? Nope. You go play with your niece. Just don't destroy the playroom. Half an hour later, Emily called them to dinner. John didn't eat. He sipped some chamomile tea with honey, waited until Emma finished, and said, I'm going to put the munchkin to bed. Johnny, you should hit the hay yourself. I can see you're dead on your feet. Get some rest. We'll talk in the morning. No rush. Tomorrow's Saturday. John woke early to the persistent ringing of a phone coming from his jacket hanging on a chair. Fishing out the phone, he answered, Hello? I wasn't done talking to you. Whatever I told the cops. Who's this, and who haven't you finished talking to? After a minute, John rubbed his eyes and checked the caller ID. It wasn't his phone. Realizing he had accidentally taken the phone from the wine-soaked man he had been talking to his wife on in the bistro yesterday, and it was the man's wife calling, he said, Sorry, I think I was talking to you yesterday and accidentally grabbed this phone when I left the bistro. So, you're Sarah's husband? Yep, that's me. You should have come with us to the station. It was quite a scene. Sarah threw a fit when it finally sank in how bad her actions looked to everyone else. Before that, she didn't get that lying to her husband was wrong. Well, she didn't fool him and sounds like she wasn't planning to. The thing is, my loser husband is always on a short leash. They did have a hectic week at work, but the final report was submitted on Thursday. I have to say, your wife has a very trusting relationship with my husband, the CEO. And you are the founder, I take it. No, not me. The founder is my mother. She's 65 already and in no hurry to retire. But my husband used to work in government. He had a secretary he started messing around with. It all came out. I found out, and then I warned him. When he got out of the hospital, I got him this job. So you're not the founder, but you call all the shots there. I manage everything remotely. My dear hubby didn't realize that from home, I can see which computer is on and which isn't. And if I wanted to, I could monitor what everyone in that office is doing, plus a little spyware on his phone. I would have found him at that bistro 5 minutes later, but that's not the point. After a productive week, my brilliant husband decided to invite your wife out for a drink, and she wasn't smart enough to understand his intentions. She thought it was just coffee. He was thrilled and forgot he was being watched. So what are you going to do with him now? Nothing. I'm firing him from his job, and from the city too. On Monday, I'm taking him to the county clerk, filing for divorce, and sending him back to where he came from. County clerk's office is closed on Monday. Well, Tuesday it is then. What about my wife? Is she up yet? I don't know. I'm not actually at home. I picked up my daughter and left. Ah, that's why she was yelling so much. She realized she's losing both her husband and kid. What the hell was she doing dragging that dimwit to the bathroom? She should have been groveling at your feet begging forgiveness, but by my estimation, she should be getting home about now. I'm already home. They let me go first. Released me an hour after your wife. Sarah, after the bistro blow-up caused by her husband, along with Mark and his wife Jessica, was taken to the police station. The investigation dragged on. Once they were sure the women had no claims against each other, they were put in the same holding cell where they even struck up a bit of a rapport. Jessica, hearing Sarah explain how they ended up at the bistro and realizing it was all her lecherous husband's idea, said, All right, sorry for clocking you. You can cover that shiner with makeup, but let this be a lesson. No more cozy lunches with other women's husbands. Maybe your old man will give you a matching one on the other side. While they were detained, officers went by Sarah's home several times, looking to bring in her husband for questioning, but never found him there. Eventually realizing the situation, they started releasing them one by one. Though disorderly conduct was evident, everything ended surprisingly calmly. The detective handling the case said, You have marital problems. Sort it out at home, not in public. To which Jessica replied, Oh, I'll definitely be having a talk with my husband at home. He shouldn't be getting so chummy with his staff. And Sarah's spouse quipped, Understood. I would have smashed a wine bottle over his head for being an idiot, but I love him, so just gave him a little tap. My sensei always says, Jess, that all it takes is an open palm slap to kill. Sarah eyed this petite woman, unable to picture the damage she could do with a closed fist, considering Jessica had indeed struck her with just an open hand. The cops played it safe and released Mark first. He quickly left with instructions from Jessica. Go on home, dear. I'll be along shortly and we'll discuss everything. Sarah got home in the wee hours. The house was dark and quiet. Trying not to make noise, she entered the apartment and noticed her husband's and daughter's things missing from the entryway. They hadn't come back, likely staying at her sister-in-law Emily's place. Sarah didn't really get along with Emily and now faced a dilemma: call now or wait until morning. She opted to call in the AM. She went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and understood why the cops had been smirking at her. That bruise wasn't getting concealed by anything, but she still had a couple days. She berated herself, muttering, "Why'd I go? I knew he was married and chased every skirt in the office. The girls in accounting warned me. I figured I'd enjoy a glass of wine on his dime, unwind a little. Boy, did I unwind. Now I gotta save my marriage if it's even salvageable. But how, when hoping for Emily's help is off the table?" She loved her husband and didn't want to lose him, and of course him taking their daughter was out of the question. She'd lose her mind completely then. After a long shower, a tearful Sarah went to bed. Morning brought nothing new. John's phone still went to voicemail. After some thought, she resolutely dialed Emily. "Hey Sarah, what's up?" Emily answered, keeping it casual. Good morning, how are things?" Sarah began, testing the waters. "You mean with Emma and John?" "Yes, Emily, them." "Oh, they're fine. Johnny's still snoozing and Emma and I are making him breakfast." "Tell me what happened yesterday." "John misunderstood, but I'm also at fault. I should have told him we just stopped for a quick drink to celebrate wrapping up a big project with the CEO. And why did I say I was still at the office? Lost my head, and next thing I know, there's Johnny dumping my wine all over the CEO. Then the CEO's wife shows up, decks her husband, and then me. Now I've got a shiner I can't hide with all the concealer in the world. Emily, ask John to call me when he gets up. I want to apologize to him. And Emma, please." "Okay, thanks." After talking to Jessica, John got dressed and went to the kitchen where Emily and his daughter were making pancakes. Emily was at the stove flipping flapjacks, and Emma, her nose already smudged with whipped cream, was happily munching away. Greeting John, Emily said, "Pull up a chair next to Emma. The pancakes are best hot off the griddle." "Oh, and Sarah called asking for you to call her back. Says she wants to apologize." "Apologize? What was she thinking yesterday feeding me that line about working late? I mean, she's crying now, but she was all smiles sitting with that guy. If she's unhappy about something, just tell me. I'm not a mind reader." "So what's the plan?" "No plan yet. If you're not kicking us out, we'll stay here for now and see how it goes. But Emma's not just your kid. If we split, she'd end up with her mom, right?" "No talk of splitting yet, but no more cozy bistro dates with other men either, even if they are her boss. She's got a college degree. Time to use her head and remember what family means. You do what you think is right, but call Sarah." John polished off a stack of pancakes, went to the guest room and rang Sarah. She picked up on the first ring. "Johnny, I'm so sorry. What I did yesterday was incredibly stupid. I never should have accepted that dinner invite, and then lying to you about working late on top of it. Well, amazing how a night in the slammer clears the head. Come by Emily's, let's talk." "John, I can't. I've got a bruise covering half my face. Makeup won't touch it." "Up to you." "Okay, I'll come by today." "No, not today or tomorrow. I'm not ready to see you yet. But Johnny, I want to see Emma." "What? And scare her half to death with this shiner? Seriously, you're going to use our kid to guilt me? Listen, the jury's still out on us. You were a hair's breadth from cheating. Blind luck is the only reason you didn't. But emotionally, you crossed that line the second you accepted that invite, then ran to wash Romeo's shirt without a thought for me. Okay, we'll table this till Tuesday, see how things stand then. But Emma will need clean clothes for daycare. I'll drop some by." "Fine, drop them off, but don't expect a heart-to-heart on Monday." Sarah set an early alarm, determined to get into the office and take a breather from Mark. Somehow masking the worst of the bruise with foundation, she kept her head down and slipped into her office first thing. The admin assistant rang her desk. "Valerie, is Mark in yet?" "Oh, good, you're here, Sarah. Better hightail it to the boss's office." "Who's there?" "Nobody." Sarah entered the executive suite. Indeed, it was empty, save for Jessica. Sarah was unpleasantly surprised by this. Jessica was poring over papers strewn across the desk. Sarah, eyes downcast, greeted her. "Hello, Jessica." "Why so formal? We shared a cell in matching outfits. And here you are hiding that pretty face from the world. I gave it my best shot, and you're caking it with cosmetics. All right, sit. Look here, this is from your report. Explain these numbers and tell me where the profit went. Sarah scanned the figures. But those numbers weren't there, and this report page looks like it's been swapped out. See for yourself. My signature's missing. I signed every page. And the money? No idea. I can only reconcile the totals. Only the head of accounting would know where funds went. Valerie, please ask Tanya from accounting to come see me. 5 minutes later, Tanya from accounting entered the office and was immediately asked, Tanya, where did this sum disappear to from the company accounts? Jessica showed the head accountant the amount that Sarah had highlighted. Tanya responded, I'm sorry, but who are you? I'm the wife of the CEO and the daughter of the company's founder. I act based on a power of attorney issued by my mother to handle all matters according to the charter. That means I decide everything here, including the future of your employment. My apologies, I wasn't aware. Now you are. Should I arrange an audit? No, what for? I just clarified the money issue. They were supposed to be transferred today as Mark directed. Understood. Do not transfer the funds and explain their origin. Only Mark knows. Listen, someone transferred this money to us. There must be a payment order detailing everything. Go find out. And remember, as of today, Mark is no longer employed here. The acting CEO is Sarah. The admin assistant is already typing up the paperwork. Got it. Yes, got it. And Sarah, stop practicing karate in the office. I need your brains here. You have a lot of work to do now. Valerie, call the VPs and the chief engineer here in 5 minutes. Dave and Mike were in the office, looking curiously first at Jessica and then at Sarah. After a pause, Jessica, pointing at the report, asked, So, who among you can explain this sum? Where did it come from and where was it supposed to go? Yes, but this was all Mark's idea. The sum was made up out of thin air. One archive funded by the budget was supposed to allocate money for major repairs. But they couldn't spend it. We compiled the completion reports. They transferred us the money, which was supposed to go to a company created by Mark as a subcontractor, where he cashed it and promised us a hefty bonus, of course, under the table. So you decided to rob us? No, of course not. Then you decided to go to jail? What are you talking about, Jessica? The completion reports were signed by our rep on the subcontractor side. I don't know him. I only dealt with Mark during the contract negotiation. Sarah, you have 2 positions to fill now, VP and chief engineer. Start looking now. Don't count on these guys. I'll return the money to the budget, but I'll pass the materials to the authorities. But they'll jail us. I don't care what happens to you. If I hadn't found this out, they would have jailed my mom and me. You're free to go. Dave and Mike, heads down, dejectedly walked out. After they left, Jessica said, Do you understand why he was dragging you to the bistro? First to get in your pants, then to make you cover for his financial schemes. I think the head of accounting is also in on it. You were only supposed to keep quiet about the books, and she was supposed to funnel the money and cover it up neatly in the ledgers, and now she'll have to face the surplus showing up in the red. Well, I'll talk to her and handle it. You deal with the issues under your authority according to the company's charter and the new contract. Just work. Yes, but they haven't given me the contract yet, and all this is so unexpected. Plus, I need to resolve things with my husband. What's with your husband? Isn't he coming home? No, he isn't. You shouldn't have lied. Well, he did the right thing. Give me his number. I'll call him myself. Sarah gave Jessica her husband's phone number, and she dialed it. John answered, I'm listening. It's me who's listening to you. Are you planning to divorce my wife? Jessica, how did you get my number? Let's just say I'm the founder of the company. You didn't answer my question about Sarah. Honestly, everything turned upside down for me yesterday. She wasn't planning anything. How would I know? Why lie? Sarah was needed to cover his office schemes. Only because you interfered. So if I hadn't interfered, she would have covered his schemes? Not exactly like that. I came to the office last night not just to catch him with someone. I saw from the report that the numbers didn't add up. I just wanted to talk, but I was too late. They had already gone to the bistro. Today, Sarah showed me those numbers. She said she saw them for the first time. The first and last sheets were replaced, and her signature was missing. In general, I've appointed her as the CEO. Then I need to think about whether it's even worth coming back at all. Who am I, and who has she become? I'm not her equal. Don't talk nonsense. I'm not talking nonsense. I see you're playing the victim. Listen, don't pretend. Just talk to your wife. I think the connection between two people shouldn't end over a misunderstanding. And what did you do with your man? I didn't kick him out. He disappeared after they released him from the police station. You wouldn't believe how much I'm waiting for him. He didn't even think to cheat on me. He just decided to rob me and disappear. He cheated on me before and then got treated. I even got curious. Which department? Surgery. And I thought I had completely cured him. So it's not his first mistake. Sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm at work. Okay, let's meet in the evening and talk. Where and when? At the bistro where we met on Friday. Actually, I haven't tipped the server yet. But I have a daughter. How old is she? She'll be 5 soon. So, she's already a big girl, which means she can go to bistros. Of course, but you'll still bring her along with that black eye, won't you? I won't bring her, but I'll come with her. I told her there'd be no talk until Tuesday. I'm not ready. So, you'll meet with her tomorrow? Well, if there are no other plans. Agreed. We'll meet at the bistro after work tomorrow. Are you some kind of mediator? I'm better than a mediator. The next day, John met Emily near the daycare, handed his sister the child and explained, sorry to burden you, but I can't bring Emma to the bistro. What if there's a scene? And what do you want now? I don't know. When she was just an analyst, I could somehow reconcile with it and was ready to forgive her. But now she's the CEO. She's the CEO there, but at home she's your wife. She just has a different social circle now. Don't mess with my head. You also have a higher degree that you're hiding. Right. And I get paid more for it, and the responsibility is less. The salary was higher back then. Now the value of engineering and technical workers is recognized. So you just need to pull out your diploma. All right, I'll sit with Emma at the daycare tomorrow, but you go and forgive your wife. John arrived at the bistro half an hour early, ordered a shot of whiskey and something to snack on. The server recognized him and quietly asked, "You're not planning to douse anyone with wine today, are you?" I hadn't planned on it, although the evening is just starting. Thank you. At the appointed time, Sarah and Jessica entered the bistro. After scanning the room, they headed to the table where John was sitting. And where's Emma? You didn't think I'd bring her to a showdown between us in a bistro, did you? I wanted to see her. I missed her. Unfortunately, I sent her home alone. I'm not you, but I took care of our child. Jessica intervened. Stop, both of you. Why did you come here to make a scene over nothing? Sarah, tell us how it all happened. When I finished the report, Mark took it himself, reviewed it, and suggested we go to the bistro across from the office. Considering I had worked through lunch that day, I agreed, thinking we'd sit briefly, and I'd have time to pick up Emma from daycare. We arrived, had a glass of wine, but the food was delayed, and I needed to go. Then you called. I decided to ask you to pick up Emma, waited for the food, ate quickly, and ran home. But you were standing there, dousing Mark with wine from my glass. I understand I acted wrongly by deceiving you, and I got flustered. And when I encountered Jessica and got punched by her, I was completely disoriented. Correct, only I hit you not because you were supposedly involved with this dimwit, but because I saw deception in the report and thought you were celebrating a successful scam to extract money from the company. Late at night when I returned home from the station, I rechecked your report, realized that after its completion, edits were made in 2 places, only on 2 sheets, and the next day, you confirmed this to me. Moreover, I retrieved these replaced sheets from the CEO's trash bin. He didn't even bother to tear them up. What do you say now? What can I say? Walking home from work, I see my wife drinking wine in a bistro. I call her and learn she hasn't finished her report yet. What was I supposed to do? We figured out the reason. We are adults and understand that there was no cheating, no flirtation, and no affair. The only residue is Sarah's deception. We know that if she had told the truth, nothing would have happened, at least not my appearance. I still would have hit Mark in the face, and probably Sarah too. So it's okay for you but not for me? I said if Sarah hadn't deceived you. But what you did was perfectly logical, but everything turned out not to be what it seemed. There was no cheating, Jess. There was intentional deception. How can I trust her today? Especially now that she's the CEO, which involves meetings with various people, including men, to discuss supplies, sales, some contrived seminars, training, and thus business trips. I don't need that. I need a wife at home. Johnny, I understand you and your fears, but all these seminars, training, take place here in the city. There's no need to travel anywhere. Suppliers and buyers interested in us will come to us to resolve issues. Moreover, Sarah loves you, and I don't think that after the jealousy outbreak that occurred, she will embark on a path of cheating and deception. I have another proposal. What is it? Come work with us as the VP or chief engineer. Isn't it a problem that we're technically relatives? Labor laws don't prohibit close relatives from working together in a private company, including under direct supervision of one another. It's only prohibited for government employees. How do you know I can work as the chief engineer? Even Sarah doesn't know that. I know. I did some digging. You worked as the deputy chief engineer at a huge company. There was an accident, people died, and you were blamed. As far as I know, they were grooming you for chief. You tried to fight it, and then they told you they'd just imprison you. In the end, they banned you from holding executive positions for 5 years. 5 years have long passed. There was actually no guilty party. There was equipment failure. Production should have been stopped, which is exactly what both the chief and I demanded. They didn't listen. Moreover, the chief ended up in the hospital with a heart attack, and I took over his duties when the accident occurred. Why have you never told me this? Why would I? I'm not proud of it. You had enough worries, and I didn't realize where you got your deep understanding of production. But that's not all I want to say. What do you want to say? That I forgive you for the deception. I won't allow myself to do that again. I'm asking you to come back home. If you accept Jessica's offer, I'd be happy to work with you. If for you to come home with Emma means I have to quit my job, I'll do it. No, hold on. I don't need such sacrifices from you. I don't have anyone else to rely on at the company. So John, take my offer. Quit your old job and take any of the positions I mentioned. Sarah, don't even think about quitting. You owe me. For what? Who took my husband and got drunk with him in this bistro? Jess, he invited me himself. I don't know, but in fact, because of this, I'm divorcing my husband. Jessica, you're divorcing him because he decided to rob you. That too. In the end, John returned home with his daughter. Sarah continued working as the CEO, no longer allowing even the slightest lie in her relationship with her husband. John indeed started working as the chief engineer under contract. He reported to the founder. Jessica, with great difficulty using her brother's connections, managed to track down Mark to drag him to the county clerk to file for divorce. After that, Mark vanished again. What do you think about this story? Be sure to post in the comments. I read everything, and also don't forget to subscribe.